In today's episode of Comics and Cosplay, we ask the question, have we reached the saturation point in which there are too many comic book and anime conventions? So for those of you just joining, this is part 2 of our Convention Week scene in which we discuss a different topic affecting or surrounding conventions around the US. And in today's episode, I wanted to talk about the fact of I'm starting to feel that we might be having a saturation point or a breaking point in which we have too many anime and comic book conventions. So what really brought this idea to my mind was that a few weeks ago we had New York Special Edition here in New York City, as well as 2 other cons in the Metroplex area, and how people were really stretched thin between the 2 different cons. And it made me just really question of, has this become such a money grab for certain groups that, they're saturating the market with so many cons that it's just, splitting the talent, splitting the attendees, and just kind of hurting the overall convention scene. I know that, a lot of my friends didn't even attend this con because they didn't feel it was a special deal, or I had other friends that were attending the other versions of the con in different parts of the city. And so it just makes me wonder, when are we going to have too many cons? And especially given the fact that people now travel a lot more to cons outside of their own Metroplex area. It's not so much of a thing where, you go to your local comic book con and that's your con for the year, or maybe one that's just a few towns over. A lot of people made that huge trek out to Ohio this year for Colossal Con. And so I think that's going to put a lot of pressure on a lot of these smaller cons to continue to exist, especially when there's just so many cons all the time. And it just really makes me wonder, what are we paying for and what are the quality of these cons going to be like, especially since, artists and creators are stretched thin because they're being pulled to different cons all in the same weekend, as well as the same with the vendors. Not every vendor can be at the con and none are big enough to send, part of their team to this con and this con, so they have to pick which events they're going to go to. And so, I don't really have a good answer to what the solution is, but I think this is going to be a big problem for the convention scene and people trying to go forward, because I think a lot of the upcoming cons and people trying to jump in the con scene don't necessarily have a plan or an outlook on, what's going to make their con unique in the programming. They just are kind of seeing the money grab opportunity and seeing that cons are such a big, phenomenon right now that it's a quick way to make a lot of cash quickly. But let me know what you guys think. I want to hear from you. Do you think there are too many cons currently right now? And what do you think the future of cons are going to be? Let me know in the comments section down below. Also, make sure you like and subscribe to our videos so you don't miss out on any of our future episodes for the convention series, as well as our tutorial series coming out from Janelle, all about boot covers. As always, I'm your host Ian from Saturday Morning Cosplay, and I'll see you on the con floor.